The market view from an eminent market voice. Speaking at the SP Gen Global Campus in Singapore in a special edition of BNSN on campus, hear it out from Samir Arora of Helios Capital, who believes that investing is a way of managing your money and not making money. Let's listen to him as he speaks about India topping the emerging market charts, investing in large caps and tackling macro issues with the students of SP Gen Global.
But first of all, you should get a good job and you shouldn't be investing with your dad's money. But I started investing when I was in my MBA school. So I would think, actually, I don't think there's any rush to do it on day one. Once you have a job, it can be done with excess money. But many people think that, investing is a way of making money. I don't think investing is a way of making money. Investing is a way of managing your money. That means knowing where to put your excess savings. So it's okay, take your time, plus minus 1 or 2 years won't change anybody's life.
They have a lot of time for sure, and I'm sure they have lots of questions for you, Samir. So let's get started then with our first question, and go ahead.
Hi Samir, I'm Akarshak. So we keep reading about the volatility in the crude oil prices. So I would like to ask what kind of an impact these prices would have on an emerging nation like India.
They will obviously have a very bad impact in general, but volatility means nothing because that is going to be there in all markets at all the times. So it's more of a bigger picture issue that India in the last few years has in a sense, little bit strengthened itself relative to volatility because they have freed these prices. So no longer are they totally in the balance sheet of the government. Now diesel and petrol are now free price. So that at least it's passed on to the consumers. And that has a strong signaling effect because if everything is subsidized, then the consumer doesn't see a change in price. And in theory, he will not react to a price signal. But at a big picture level, it's a negative if it goes up.
So, just to break it down then, on a scale of 1 to 10 right now, 10 being the worst, how worried should we be about crude oil?
No, you shouldn't be there. I'll give you 10 other things to worry about.
Okay, so not overly concerned when it comes to crude. We've touched upon that. Do we have any other questions? Go ahead.
Hi, sir. My question is, what have you made of corporate governance issues when it comes to banks? Because we have seen private banks in the spotlight and change of management. So what are your views on it?
So you are talking about private sector bank corporate governance issues.
Yeah, because Samir, that is a bit disconcerting right now. We're seeing some of the marquee
but you're right. So in general, the thing is that India itself and the world also, but there are many corporate governance issues. Now you just found them, if at all you call it like that, in 1 or 2 banks, which is still sort of not decided officially by the system. But in India, because we are very cynical, we mean not me, but generally the Indians at large, so we are able to handle. But of course, it's there. Nowadays, if you see, the system has become a little stricter. For example, auditors you would have seen are now resigning because they are being threatened with imprisonment and punishment and whatever. Like PwC lost that license, which they haven't, they are fighting in court or whatever. But in general, the system is reacting. But this is part and parcel of any financial system that there'll be some governance issues.
So it's not coming as a surprise to you that we...
No, in any one particular name, sometimes it may be a surprise if you thought it was good before.
Were you surprised with ICICI Bank?
Well, it hasn't come out yet officially, anything.
Okay. So let's get in more questions. We've spoken banks, we've spoken crude. What are the other questions that the students have? Hi, go ahead.
Okay. Hi, I'm Joanna. So there are several factors that could drive the market. Global factors, macroeconomic issues such as inflation, interest rate, and earnings. For you, which would be the biggest concern and which would be the main driver for growth? So
in a longer term sense, I think the only driver is earnings. But all these things that you say are for effect on earnings. And PE at different times, of course. So for inflation is high, PE will become low and things like that. But at the end of the day, if you took real long term, it will be earnings. But real long term means, let's say 10 years, 7 years, 5 years. In between, you could say that the market is discounting the future or compensating for the past. It doesn't have to. For example, in 2009, the market didn't go up 80% or 60% because the earnings grew 60%. Because previous year, the market had fallen 50%. So it was adjusting for that error. So the whole effort of the world is So we are betting on two things. We means investors. One is if you can bet that the earnings are right or wrong in terms of what the market thinks. And second is whether these valuations will increase or not, because it is very cheap, and if they do well for a few years, the valuation will increase because people will reward them for consistency. But that second part is very difficult.
Let's find out over here, just by show of hands, are you guys investing in the stock markets right now?
No, are you reading? First, let's ask, are you reading?
How many of you are reading?
Books, proper books. Are
So
too many.
And what about investing? Are you planning on investing, or are you currently investing in the stock markets? Show of hands. Okay,
Very good.
so a wide majority for sure. Let's get in another question.
Good afternoon, sir. I'm Tushar, pursuing masters here at SP Jain. So in past, we have seen a lot of mid caps and small caps have seen a lot of correction in the Indian markets. Going forward, which are the upcoming sectors in mid cap and the small caps which you are focusing on? Probably we could benefit from the Indian growth story there.
So the thing is, I don't
I'm so
believe...
glad he asked that question and I didn't.
Anyway, I'm not answering it. I wouldn't have answered you also. So the thing is, we don't talk about stocks. So let's do big picture. So the big picture is that it is, I don't believe in small cap, mid cap story as a per se group. Because my feeling is that in many sectors, so first of all, it should be a mix. We call ourselves an all cap fund, where we have about 30% in what we call mid cap, which is stocks outside the top 250 stocks. In India now, they are defining 100 stocks as large cap. So for us, we define 250 stocks as large cap. So in any case, we are a bit more mid cap from that definition. But in general, my feeling is that the company should be big in its own sector. I don't like a mid cap company in a sector which are 10 large companies. And I don't believe, as I was saying, I don't believe in relative re-rating, that this company has 10p, this company has 15, so if I buy 10, it'll become 15. That is if it delivers for 10 years, it'll become 15p, but it's not just because in the same sector.
So you're not sharing your sector?
No, I give gyan. I give how to fish. Okay, so in the recent correction is, I think, nearly fully justified. Because of, look at what happened in the last 1 or 2 years. India didn't change so much for these companies to go up, 3-4 times, not last year, but last 2-3 years, from 13 end. But we all benefited directly, indirectly. I don't think that correction is over yet.
My name is Saurabh. My question is, what are your views on India's growth in the long run when it's compared to other emerging markets such as Brazil?
Brazil, okay, I know, but big picture, let me answer. So my theory is that the growth itself is not an issue, because if you see last 25 years, India's growth has been around 7%, independent of which government was in and which government was out. It was a catch-up trade that is happening in India. The question is that growth changing somebody's life? I don't think it is changing anybody's life yet. So we are not growing well. But I don't think that suddenly we will improve this, because as we say, we don't bet on mega changes. But it is obviously going to be a long-term growth story, because we are starting from a pathetically low base. And that is our own system's fault. And they are not overly in a position or willing to change it so much. So this 7 may become 8. I don't think it's becoming 9 or 10 with whatever policies we are following. But it will continue, plus you can add 1%, because sometimes the global environment will be better, or some sector will be doing well, or oil prices will fall.
But among
But
the
it's a
other
good rate.
EMs,
It's a good rate for investors relative to other choices. Now Brazil and all is too much commodity driven and too much distant from me to worry every minute about it. And they've also not done a good job of their own growth. So maybe we'll do better than them, but I don't have much of a view or I care about Brazil per se.
no, Samir, if we're talking about the other emerging markets, how is India stacking up?
India is okay.
Not great.
No, because the thing is, India is good at a company level. At our growth rate, our growth rate is...
Candid chat there with the students and Samir Arora.